check this out. This is obviously our first trial for how we're going to grow these mushrooms. And this is a 20 litre food grade bucket, and this is the first flush that we've got. As you can see, if you're looking at this and these are probably a little bit off peak. These ones here are still okay. See how they've lifted their heads? These guys haven't thrown out spores yet, but more than likely would have if we don't harvest them. So I just want to see what we get off these for the first run. We ran into a few issues with our tent. So the main thing is humidity is perfect, light is perfect, ppm is really good. It was still around the 500 mark, so there was plenty of airflow in there. As you can see around the back here, and it may change once we take this one off, they're very stringy and they're not coming out properly with this little flush that's here. It's a heat problem. So this yellow oyster in particular is meant to run 28 to 30 degrees, which is pretty hot. We're still sort of at night, we're probably around 14, 15 degrees. During the day we've had one crack a day, which was 23 degrees, which probably helped these guys out sort of midway through. But still not ideal to where we want it to be, so we need to fix our temperature problem. And we probably have a light problem as well, only a slight one. This should be gold, and they're not quite as yellow as they need to be. But all in all, pretty impressed with this flush. In a second I'm going to weigh it, and you'll be able to see what we get off the, it's not technically all of the first flush. If we get the heat dialed in, we'll get a fair bit out of this. So pretty impressed. This is off sugarcane mulch and gypsum, and that's it. That's the only supplement we used. And then we used oat for the grain spawn that we put into the buckets, which we'll continue to use oat because it's readily available where I live. But the next trial bucket is hardwood chips, which is a lot easier to manage, not as messy either to handle. All right, cheers. So the first flush of these yellow oyster mushrooms that we've ever pulled off a bucket, and we're nearly at 1 kilo. Like I said, there's still more of the first flush to come off this bucket. What do I mean by that? There's still other mushrooms that will come off it before we get to our second flush. But pretty awesome, I reckon, for our first flush to get nearly 1 kilo of mushrooms. We can increase that, I think, substantially. Like I said, once we get the heat and everything dialed in. But pretty cool.